Hello everybody, and welcome to another Starfield ship build tutorial. This is my first C-Class ship build and is easily one of the most requested videos by a long shot that I've made so far, so thanks for all your support. I want to thank everyone who's requested and given feedback, and special thanks to Ricky Gunslinger, who I'll be implementing some designs into the ship per his request. To anyone who is new to my builds and my videos, I go at a pretty good pace to keep the videos short so I don't waste your time. That being said, YouTube doesn't seem to recommend shorter videos as much, so if you could click all the good things down below and share this video, I'd really appreciate it. Now that shameless plug is over, let's hop into the breakdown of the ship. Now, as long as you aren't designing ship after ship, the Leviathan's cost shouldn't be too out of reach, and the stats are fantastic in this configuration. There is a ton of adjustability in the build though, so feel free to switch out things you prefer if need be. All the parts for the ship can be found at Deimos Star Yard and Aquila City, and there's tons of parts that can be purchased at either, so if you prefer one of the starports, feel free to purchase it there. As for the workarounds, I made sure to avoid any unnecessary ones, so there's actually only one in this entire build, so make sure to stick around to see that later in the video. Now that the ship is split into its layers, I'm doing a little follow along so you can place the parts into layers, which makes the building process way easier and much faster. If you've enjoyed the video so far, or maybe there's something you didn't like, take a second and let me know down in the comments below, or even subscribe to my channel and see the rest of my content. The biggest advantage of this build is that there's tons of space and plenty of modules that can be changed out for something else to alter the entire purpose of the ship. Keep in mind that I don't have any of the perks that increase the stats or power output of the ship either, so it could be even better if you have those perks. My designs are meant to be flexible, so the build can have more or less cargo, more hull, more or different habitats, and there's actually 2 hull pieces in the middle layer that can be replaced with anything. All the weapons can be switched out for turrets or an entirely different configuration. If you prefer to have a lot of ballistic weapons or a lot of laser weapons, change it up to however you need it to be. The colors I went with were dark blue, some gray, and then some yellow accents here and there. And that's just to match the sort of Dendem style that I've been going for the past little while. As we start piecing the ship together from section to section, I forgot to mention and show the viewports on top and bottom of the captain's quarters at the nose of the build. The viewports can be changed out for anything, really. You can put an equipment mount or whatever you'd like, but I wanted to let you know in case it shows up later during the interior walkthrough and I forget to mention it. We've finally made it to the workaround where the cabin won't align with the middle layer because of an intersection that honestly doesn't make any sense when I'm looking at the module. I'd recommend removing the cargo from the middle layer, putting the cockpit onto the layer first. The workaround just lets you fill the gap underneath the cockpit because it doesn't let you place a full block underneath it normally. For the workaround, you just have to select a module that's flippable or rotatable. You can use cargo like I did, or you can fill it with a fuel tank or whatever you like. It just has to be flippable or rotatable. As long as you have that, you're going to place it onto one of the lock joints and then just flip it once, and you can immediately cancel the selection and it'll place it into the gap. If you want the cargo doubled up, you want to make sure you select the first piece and lock it to the left joint under the cabin. Then select the second module holding it under the opposite joint and rotating it until it's lined up evenly. After you deselect the module, you'll now have a flat appearance underneath the cabin. This workaround works with every cabin which has a hitbox that overlaps as well, so it opens up to tons of new designs. Now let's get into the interior of the ship. The Leviathan's interior has 2 separate places for the entry points. The landing bay places you in the front of the ship, and the docker places you at the rear close to the cockpit, which makes the most sense for how a ship would actually be designed. The front is a T-section which connects you to the crew quarters, armory, the nose being the captain's cabin, and the right side being the connection to the rest of the ship. There's an infirmary for immersion, the workbench or workshop with every bench, and then the living quarters in case there are passengers on the ship. The connection leads you to the companionway where the docker and the crew quarters are located, with a rear window thanks to Ricky. Connecting you to the cabin directly, everything exists on 2 layers to make it as simple as possible, and like I mentioned before, there are 2 hull parts that can be swapped out for any module in case you need it. Now we're gonna hop into the combat of the ship. This thing's maneuverability is insane for being so big, enough that it weaves around any asteroid and flips U's on a dime in case you're getting behind your enemies. I chose 2 different types of lasers and 1 type of ballistic weapon that are all self-controlled, but for people that prefer turrets, the hit points on this ship are perfectly placed to allow turrets to target quite effectively. The shields are huge, and I have 0 perks and didn't even choose the best one that's available, so when you're playing on a difficulty, doesn't matter. I play only on very hard, and I never experienced a situation this thing can't handle. If you end up setting up this design, you'll have to let me know the biggest ship you've taken on with the Leviathan. I'd love to hear it. Alrighty, that's another one down, and hopefully it's the best one that I've made yet. If there's something you'd prefer to be different, or if you really did like it, let me know down below and give me any feedback you might have. I'd love to read it. Just to plug myself one more time, I've got a bunch of other content on my channel, and if you like this video, you're gonna like some of the rest of that content. I'd love for you to check it out, but other than that, that's gonna be all from me. So if you wanna like this video, comment, and even subscribe, it'd mean a ton to me. That's gonna be all from me though, so I hope you all take care, and I'll hopefully see you next time. See ya.